Hello students, in today's lecture we are going to continue our discussion of nonlinear regression functions. So today we are going to talk about logarithmic functions of y and or x. That is, you could take the log of the natural logarithm of x, either the independent variables or the natural log of the y. And what we are going to talk about today is what does it mean when you take the log of y or x, then the beta coefficients that you estimate, how do you interpret those beta coefficients? What does it actually mean? So in order to understand how to interpret, we will introduce the idea that logarithmic transforms allow you to model relations in a percentage terms. Okay, so let us talk about it a little bit. So why is this so? This is because when you take the log of the function and then your beta, if you do not take the log of the function, then normally your beta coefficients stand for when you just take normal continuous variables, then the beta 1 coefficient is basically change in y by change in x. Okay, but if you actually specify y as equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 ln of x plus u, then what happens when x changes by delta x, then on your right hand side you have ln of x plus delta x, right? And this is what happens after the change. What happens before the changes? You just have ln of x. Now ln of x plus delta x minus ln of x can be also written as ln of x plus delta x by x, right? Given the logarithmic, how this is one of the identities in logarithmic ratios. The log of a ratio is written as the log of the numerator minus the log of the denominator. So log of so we have log of x plus delta x minus log of x is equal to log of x plus delta x by x, which is the same as log of 1 plus delta x by x, okay, which is given here. Now this is for small delta x's, this is approximately equal to delta x by x. Okay, how did we suddenly go from here to here? So in order to show how we went from log of 1 plus for small x's, how is does this approximation holds? Let me start by saying that if you remember, if you look at the Taylor series expansion, then Taylor series expansion, then what you will know, remember possibly, is e to the power of x can be written as 1 plus x by 1 factorial plus x square by 2 factorial plus x cube by 3 factorial and so on and so forth. Okay, so what happens is, now what happens is for small x's, like x say very small, much smaller than 1, so say for 0.01, so what happens is this becomes 1 plus 0.01 plus 0.0001 by 2 factorial plus 0.000001 by 3 factorial and so on. So for small x's, what happens is all of these terms become very small and they are negligible. So for small x's, e to the power of x can be written as, for small x's, e to the power of x can be written as x. Okay. Now if you take log on both sides, you have log of 1 plus x is the same as log of e to the power of x, or it can also be written as log of 1 plus x is equal to x, because log of e to the power of x is just equal to x. So for small x's, log of 1 plus x is equal to x. Here you have 1 plus delta x by x, and delta x by x is very small. So that is almost approximately equal to delta x by x. Okay, so now you know that for small x's we can use this approximation. Now what is delta x by x? Delta x is the change in x divided by the original x. Now if you multiply this by 100, this is basically equal to the percentage change in x. Okay, so log of 1 plus delta x by x is equal to the percentage change in x divided by 100. Okay, so this is a very useful approximation, and this approximation can be used to understand the effect of putting log on the for the independent variable and log of the dependent variable. So if you actually look at the numerically you look at it, log of 1.01 is equal to 0.00995, which is approximately equal to, if you round it off, it is approximately equal to 0.01. So log of 1 plus 0.01 is 0.01. Log of 1 plus 0.10 is equal to 0.0953. Now you will notice that this 0.10 is not as small as 0.01. So here actually the approximation is not that good. So you but still if you round it up, it is equal to 0.1. Okay, which is log of 1 plus 0.1 is equal to 0.1. Okay. Now, now we go to the, so given that this is how you can interpret, now we introduce three different ways in which you can introduce a logarithmic transformation in your regression equation. So in the first case, you take the log of the independent variable and leave the dependent variable as a continuous variable. This is known as the linear log case. So in this, the naming of the particular kind of model, the first word stands for what you are doing with the dependent variable, and the second word stands for what you are doing with the independent variable. Here you are taking a log of the independent variable, hence it is a linear log case. If you take a log of the dependent variable and leave your independent variable as a continuous variable, which is what is happening here, you have taken a log of the dependent variable, then it is known as a log linear model. And if you take a log on both sides, that is the independent variable as well as the dependent variable, then this is known as the log-log case. Now, the interpretation of the slope coefficient, that the beta coefficients that you estimate, differs in each case. And the interpretation is found. How do you know what the interpretation is? We apply the general before and after rule, figure out the change in y for a given change in x. Each case has a natural interpretation. So, the linear log population regression function. So, before you the change in x, you have y equals to beta 0 plus beta 1 log x. This is the before state. Now you change in x by delta x. When you change x by delta x, y changes by delta y. But here you have y plus delta y is equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 log of x plus delta x. This is the after situation. Now you subtract the before from the after, and then you get delta y. On your left hand side you have delta y, and on your right hand side you have beta 1. The beta zeros cancel out. You have beta 1 multiplied by log of x plus delta x minus log of x. But as we have discussed before, log of x plus delta x minus log of x is approximately equal to delta x by x. So we have delta y equals to beta 1 multiplied by delta x by x. Okay, delta y is approximately equal to beta 1 multiplied by delta x by x. So if you look at what beta 1 is, then you cross multiply, then beta 1 is delta y divided by delta x by x. That is the absolute change in y the absolute change in y divided by, now this is not the percentage change in x, okay, this is percentage change in x multiplied by 100. So we have change in y divided by 100 times the percentage change in x. Okay, so that is the interpretation of beta 1 in a linear log case. So in the linear log case, for small x, beta 1 is equal to this 100 times multiplied by 100 multiplied by change in x by x is the percentage change in x. So a 1% increase in x, that is multiplying x by 1.01, is associated with. So if you look at a percentage change in x, if you put it in terms of percentage, then in the denominator here you multiply by 100, and in the denominator here also you multiply by 100. Okay, so you have 0.01 beta 1 is equal to the change in y for 1% change in x. Okay, so 0.01 beta 1 is the change for each percentage change in x, or beta 1 is equal to 100 times the change in y divided by the percentage change in x. So how do you actually do it? Let us show in a particular example. We first define the new regressor. So you are making a logarithmic transform of the new regressor. So initially you had a variable called income. Now you create a new variable called log of income. Okay, then you regress, instead of regressing y on income, you regress y on log of income. So when you regress y on log of income, the estimated model that you get is equal to the beta 0 hat is 557.8 plus 36.42. This is the beta 1 hat that you are getting as a result of regressing y on log of income. Okay, so and these are the associated standard errors. So a 1% change in income is associated with an increase of, now you remember you have to multiply beta 1 hat multiplied by 0.01. So 36.42 multiplied by 0.01, that is 0.36 points on the test. So the test score is going up by 0.01 multiplied by beta 1 hat, that is 0.3642. Okay, for each percentage change in income. So if you compare it with the cubic model, which is what we discussed last time, so we will look at a visual comparison of the two. If you look at a visual comparison, you will find that the linear log case is given by this light gray colored curve, and the cubic regression is given by the blue colored curve. So as it happens in this particular case, the cubic regression seems to be doing a better job of prediction at higher levels of income than the linear log case. Now we look at the log linear population regression function. So here what we do is, as again is evident from the name of the model, we take a log on the dependent variable and we leave the independent variable as a continuous variable. So when we take a log of the dependent variable, if x changes by 1 unit, if x changes by delta x, then y will change by delta y, but log of y plus delta y, when you look at when y will change by delta y, but you have taken a log on the dependent variable. So log of y plus delta y will be equal to beta 0 plus beta 1, beta 1 x plus delta x. So you subtract the before equation from the after equation, and what you get is log of y plus delta y minus log of y is equal to beta 1 multiplied by delta x. So again, log of y plus delta y minus log of y can approximately be written as delta y by y. Okay, so that is approximately equal to beta 1 delta x, or beta 1 can be written as delta y by delta x, and this is for small delta x's as we have specified before. This approximation holds for small changes in x and small changes in y. So so beta 1 is approximately equal to change in y by delta x. Now 100 times, suppose you look at the percentage change in x, then you have to multiply the numerator by 100, and here also, so 100 times beta 1% change. So for each 1% change in the y will change by 1%, or 100 times a change in x by 1 unit, delta x equals to 1, is associated with a 100 into beta 1 percentage change in y. If you want to see what is the percentage change in y, then that will be 100 times beta 1 hat. So 1 unit increase in x results in beta 1 increase in ln y, or 100 times beta 1 percentage increase in ln y. So now, as you can see, because you have taken the log of the dependent variable, your units of ui, that is the error term, and the SER will all be in the log of the whatever is the quantity that you are measuring. It will be in logarithmic terms and not in absolute terms. Okay, so you have to take that into account. Now, now we look at the final specification, that is the log population regression function. In this particular case, you are taking a log for the dependent variable as well as the independent variable. So when you change x by a small amount, that is by delta x, you have log of x plus delta x, resulting in a change in delta y for y, but you have log of y plus delta y specified as a linear function of beta 0 and log of x plus delta x. So what does beta 1 indicate? What does it stand for? So now again, for the dependent variable, you can approximate this by delta y by y. Log of y plus delta y minus log of y can be approximated by delta y by y, and log of x plus delta x, sorry, this should be x plus delta x minus log of x can be approximated by delta x by x. So your beta 1 is equal to basically your beta 1 is equal to change in y by divided by change in x by x, and again this is only true for small changes in x. Okay, so it is right, it is for small changes this approximation will hold. So for small changes in x, beta 1 is approximately equal to change in y by change in x in x. Here you can multiply this by 100 and you can multiply this by 100. Then this is basically percentage change in y, and in your numerator you have percentage change in y, and in your denominator you have percentage change in x. So very nicely your beta 1 becomes the percentage change in y divided by it can be interpreted as the percentage change in y divided by the percentage change in x. And in economics, this particular interpretation is very useful, because percentage change in the dependent variable divided by the percentage change in the independent variable, this is also known as the elasticity. So when you take log specification, beta 1 has the interpretation of an elasticity. Okay. So for example, if we take log of test score versus log of income, so we define a new dependent variable log of test score, and we define a new regressor log of income, and then you regress this equation, then you get the new beta 0 hat as 6.336 and the new beta 1 hat is 0.0554. What this means is that 1% increase in income results in a 0.0554% increase in test score. Okay, so this is a very nice way of looking at, because sometimes you are not interested in absolute changes, because you know different people may be starting at different levels. You are not interested in absolute changes, rather than that you are interested in the relative changes or in percentage changes. So this is how it can be interpreted. So for example, if income increases from $10,000 to $11,000 or by 10%, then test score increases by approximately 0.0554 into 10%, that is 0.554%. So if the original test score was 650, then because it has increased by 0.554% or 0.00554, the actual increase will be 3.6 points. Now, how do you compare it with a log linear model? So again, we look at the visual comparison, and we look at the log-log regression, and we look at the log linear regression that we had done before, and again we see that the log-log regression seems to be doing better than the log linear regression. Now, in the vertical axis, you know, based on that, the vertical axis now is log of test score. So anyway, the cubic or the cubic and the log-log regression seems to fit the best. So you have to basically try out different specifications and maybe look at which one fits the best, or look at your likelihood function at the end of it to understand which kind of specification fits your data the best. Okay, to summarize, there are three different cases depending on whether y and or x is transformed by taking logarithms. The regression is linear in the new variables log of y and or log of x. Even though you have taken a logarithmic transformation of the variables themselves, the beta zeros and beta ones continue to be linear. Hence, this is still an extension of the linear model, and we can conduct hypothesis tests and confidence intervals as usual, and interpretation of beta 1 changes from case to case. So, which specification you should use should be guided by judgment, depending on which interpretation makes the most sense. So, you have to have your domain knowledge in order to understand which one makes more sense. If there is some variable which has a huge variation, or which is skewed, if some variable has a skewed distribution, then taking the logarithmic transform of such variables oftentimes makes it closer to a normal distribution, and that may be appropriate to do. So here we end the lecture on logarithmic transformations.